Hey, what's up out there in internet land? PTDC, Personal Trainer Development Center, Online Trainer Academy, the OTA, all its affiliates, friends, fans, and family. We got another live session for you today. We got a good one for you today. You're not going to want to miss this one. First of all, my name is Ren Jones, Renjones. I am the owner of Fitness Jones Training, and we want to give you something right off top. I know you guys like awesome free stuff. So what I want you to do is I want you to get on that keyboard, type in and let us know where you're viewing this live session from. And of those people, we're going to give you a box set of the highly wealthy online trainer. It's information that you don't want to miss. So type in where you're viewing from, and we'll be sure to share that as we go through the live session today. But we've got a special guest today, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. April Shade is here. She's gonna give us some information about the OTA, some of her methodologies, how she trains online, and just really enlighten most of you out there, but particularly some of the newer OTA grads out there. But I'm not gonna hold you guys' ears hostage any longer. I'm gonna turn it over to the expert here. April, do us a favor, introduce yourself, and just give us a little information about how you got into fitness.
Hi, everybody. My name is April Shade, and I do live out here in Trinidad and Tobago. I am originally born in the U.S., born in New York, raised in Orlando, Florida, but I moved to Trinidad with my husband about back in 2011. So I'm living here now, loving it. And how I got into fitness was, I've always been into fitness. I've always been into sports. I played sports when I was younger. I love training and working out. But I just found after I had my son, he's about 2 years old. After I had my son, I wanted to get back into shape and get back athletic and all that. And the more I worked out, the more I learned, the more I trained, the more, the more I loved it. And so as I was telling Ron, one day I told my husband, I just said to him, in another life, I was a personal trainer. And, he turned back to me and, he wisely said, well, why does it have to be another life? Why can't it be this life? So at that point, that got me thinking, that got the wheels turning. And I just said, you know what, I could make that career change because I love doing this. And I want this to be my everyday. So that's kind of how the transition started to happen. And then around the age of 31 to 33-ish is when I started the educational process of getting my CPT, getting my nutrition certification, doing OTA. And then this year I officially started as a personal trainer.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you actually went and you got educated first.
Yeah.
Fully educated. So you have the personal training certification.
You're right.
And then you went and got nutrition. Mm-hmm. And then you went through OTA. Tell us a little bit about the decision to do it that way. Why did it work that way for you? And what do you think the benefit was of you doing things in that order?
Well, I want to know what I'm doing. I want to do it the right way. I want to, when I'm standing in front of a client, I want to know what I'm doing and I want to do a good job. So I figured the best way to do that is to get organized education that can help me, develop myself as a trainer, help me develop my business, just so I can make sure I do this right. I mean, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it right. So I got the CPT, and I got all the education about the fitness and whatnot. And then nutrition is a huge thing. It's usually the problem that most people have. I know for myself, that was the case. So I think as a trainer, it's important to know about nutrition because that's the part that most people struggle with. So I wanted to get that first because I thought that would involve a lot more, like sciencey stuff. And I would really need to focus on that. And then I did OTA because as an online trainer, it's important to be able to offer that service in today's climate. Everybody's doing everything online. So I want to offer that as well as in-person training. And then the way the curriculum is set up in OTA, it really helps you build your business as a new trainer from start to finish. So through the OTA curriculum, I was able to design my entire business, essentially.
That's That's an interesting note because I know that there are people out there. So let me backtrack. Am I understanding correctly that your primary desire, what gets your gears going, your passion, is really working with people in person?
Yes.
Absolutely. So why the decision to have OTA in your pocket, so to speak?
Because, it's the way that people are today. Everybody does everything online, you know? So while my focus is to have in-person clients, I love working with in-person people. It would be irresponsible of me not to be able to know how to deliver my services online as well, if that's what a client wants. So at least through OTA, I was able to kind of design my online business as well. So if a client messages me, a potential client, and says, hey, I would like the convenience of online instead, then I know what to do. I can be professional and not stumble through it. I hate stumbling through things. If I can figure it out and know how to do it, I will do that.
That makes so much sense. Guys, it's too late to buy an umbrella when it's raining.
Mm, mm,
So April has had the foresight, and that's important for you guys out there. One recurring theme that we've had this week, April, and last week is sort of defining the versatility of OTA, right? Like you don't have to, and I'm repeating what I repeated last week and a few days ago. Like you don't have to only want to be a 5-6 figure trainer who is on the beach in Maui every day of your life and living the quote unquote dream of only training people through online. So if you feel like out there that if that's not your goal, you
mhm,
should not do OTA,
mm.
I'm sure April would beg you to reconsider.
Absolutely.
But because there's a place for it for everybody, and better to
Mhm,
be prepared than not. We talked about
mhm,
blockbusters yesterday, and April and I talked about it before this.
mhm,
Don't be blockbuster video guys.
mhm,
you know,
mhm,
Netflix is coming.
mhm,
Don't get put out of business. So, April,
mhm,
tell us a little bit about what your life was like before OTA
mhm.
versus now. Um,
Well, before I moved to Trinidad, I worked in hospitality. So I worked in a lot of major hotels in Orlando, and I worked doing group sales. So rooms, helping when the groups come, I would help them get settled. I would plan their meetings and more of a salesy side of things. And then when I moved to Trinidad, my schooling is in marketing. I got an A in marketing. And so when I came to Trinidad, my husband and I, we started a business here. And I handle all the marketing aspects of that business, as well as I would do marketing consulting for other organizations that needed help with their initiatives and whatnot. So it's very much a business, desk, sit in front of a computer or be on the phone type of situation most of the time.
and how enjoyable was that for you?
It was good. I was good. It got the job done, paid the bills. But I've always loved training. I've always loved being active and moving around. And I just started to envision a day where I was moving around more rather than sitting in front of a desk. And I just wanted something different, something more.
That makes perfect sense. So, let's talk about some of your strategies for your business. Let's interweave this in the conversation because you got some great strategies. Talk to me a little bit about investing in resources, what that means to you, and
Mhm.
how did you execute that?
Um, well, OTA obviously was an investment that I made. CPT, getting that education because I wanted to know how to do my job. I think it's important to invest in your resources because those resources will help you discover who you are within whatever it is you are doing. Books, if I want to brush up on something very specific with regards to what I am doing, then I will find there's usually a book out there on it. So in today's climate, there's so much resources out there. There really is no reason to ever not know how to do something with, the internet, YouTube. I call YouTube University because there's a video out there on something you want to do.
100%. Those resources can be crucial.
Mhm,
Now, in terms of what your work schedule was like and the family dynamic then and what it is now or what you'd like for it to be, what's the difference between your working and work schedule and how it affected your family then, and your working and work schedule and how your family interprets that now?
Well, back then we didn't have our child yet. We didn't have Aiden yet. So it was just Lennon and I, and it was obviously much easier to move around and do what we had to do. I mostly worked from home. Well, once we moved to Trinidad, I mostly worked from home. When I was in Orlando, I worked in an office. But I worked from home, and if I needed to be somewhere, I could go to an office and work there. So we were obviously more mobile. Now, obviously, with a 2-year-old, you got to be more creative with your time. You've got to figure things out, be more resourceful. But I've been able to figure a few things out, and it's working out great. Thankfully, I have a very supportive husband, and together we move, we figure it out together.
That makes sense. So part of your learning process, would you say that part of it is the fact that that you're sort of dive into content from other sources? Like,
Mhm.
is that a big part of what you do, and how do you do that?
I do watch. In the beginning, I watched a lot of YouTube. I found people, that was part of my resources. I found people who were already doing what I wanted to do. And I took in their content, their videos, for multiple different reasons. For inspiration. I live here in Trinidad, and there's not a lot of people that do what I do that I know. So in order for me to kind of be around like-minded people, I kind of had to go to the internet for that. So social media is not all bad. There are aspects of it that are highly, highly beneficial. And part of that was connecting me with people who were already further down the stream than I was with what I wanted to do. So I took in content, and that was part of my resources, was watching videos that put me in front of people who were doing what I want to do and inspired me. And I would not only watch their content or be a part of their content for entertainment reasons, but I was also kind of sidelined studying how they were doing it, how they were putting their videos together, their captions, what were they saying, how are they positioning themselves in the industry, so I wasn't turning my brain off as I was taking in their content, essentially.
That makes sense. Any particular favorites there? I'm a new OTA grad, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm watching April on the live session, and I want to be more like her. She seems like she's got her information in check. She's doing the thing that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, any content that you might recommend, just off the top of your head, that you found beneficial?
For blogs, obviously PTDC is great. To regularly check what articles. I'm on their email subscriber list, so I know when things go up. Precision Nutrition for nutrition is great. My demographic is women between ages 25 to 38, moms. So for me, Girls Gone Strong is really great for checking up and seeing what's new out there for information-wise. For YouTube, people I like to watch that I gain inspiration from as well as information is like Christian Guzman, Buff Bunny, and I love their videos. So each person that I take in, it's hard because I watch them for different reasons, So I watch them for their video editing because eventually I want to put videos on my website so that people can further get to know me. Because videos is, you got to pay attention to what people are doing and then figure out how to make that work for you. And people love videos today. So, okay, videos are popular. So now let me figure out how to do that in my way. So I like to watch them for their video editing style, and whatnot. So
That makes perfect sense, guys. One thing that I was always taught in business is the phrase "success leaves clues," and all you have to do is follow those clues. That's effectively what April's talking about here. Like there's such a broad range of free information. If you want it, it's out there to pick up. I did the same thing, coming through. And guys, I did not prompt that PTDC answer. This wasn't a setup. John Goodman did not mail a check to April's home. Hey, mention PTDC first. She did that on her own. There's no setups here. But same thing for me. Same thing for me. And the information is out there, guys. So I know you read a lot. Number one, because you told me, and number two, because there's a stack of books right behind your head. in the shot. I'm assuming they're not props, but one thing that you can learn from books is visualization. You know, metaphysics, the things you think about, you bring about, and that's a part of what you do in business. Also, tell us a little bit about sort of visualizing the end result, beginning with the end in mind. How do you do that, and what does it mean for you in the context of staying in or starting your business?
For me, visualizing is huge. That's kind of where I always start. As I think I'm very good at visualizing because I don't know, I see in pictures, I kind of have a creative soul. So I would picture my ideal day. Like if I was already where I wanted to be, a personal trainer with clients, how would my day flow? You know, in my own training facility with my morning clients, and then spend lunch with my son, and then, you know what I mean? Like picture my ideal day. And that's kind of how I started to kind of mold my day-to-day activities so that I was going in that direction. Visualization is so important because that's where it starts. You know, getting pictures of my facility. I have a Pinterest board full of pictures of training facilities that I like how that looks, or I like an aspect of that picture, and I put it all together so that when it's time to start making it happen, I have photos to draw from to put the pieces together.
Visualization is absolutely important. We reverse engineering, guys. Like if you can get the final piece in your head, you can always backtrack it and build it towards that thing. But if you don't have sort of an end result in mind, that's difficult. Now, I don't want to confuse that by telling you guys, because April, we're in the same groups. We follow the same thing. We're probably both in Online Trainers Unite and PTDC. We're both PN certified, so we're in that group. And we see a lot of people who are not taking action. So what we're not saying here, you know, visualize for the next year, and then try, because we got to get active. Talk to us a little bit about the contrast, April, between, good visualization, but actually implementing something.
I think that's so important. And in the beginning, for a while, I struggled with that. I would stay so much in my head, but my day would not match up with my head. I would still go to work and be like, I wish I wasn't here or whatever. But in my head was a beautiful place. And I think a lot of people, you're right, they do stay there. And it's so important to eventually move from a visualization, a dream, a vision, to a reality. And, your daily activities will do that. So one of the things I loved about OTA when I was going through the curriculum was I really had to stop myself and, not breeze through the curriculum and go fast and just do lesson after lesson after lesson because it's a reading assignment. No, you're essentially putting a business plan together when you do the curriculum. So after each lesson, I would stop and I would do things as I'm told to do it, which meant it took me a bit longer to get through it. But by the end of it, I actually had literally, after I took the exam, I had my business in place. I didn't have to go back and do everything. I was ready to go. So I think it really helps to stop. Once you visualize it, the next step is you commit it to paper. My way of doing something after I visualize something is to go out and find photos of what I want and create a vision board, or start the process of the business plan, or whatever the case might be. So you visualize and then, start finding photos and doing what you can to make that a reality, and then put a date on it if you need to, of when you're going to start to make that come to fruition.
Absolutely. When you visualize it, it becomes a little bit more real when you write it, and it becomes a little bit more real when you say it out loud, and it becomes a little bit more real when you take the first step in action. And what was the first post OTA? What was the first step for you? You come out, you're certified. I'm a new OTA grad. April, what do I do first? What's a good first actual action?
After I finished everything?
Yeah.
My first step was I went back to my Facebook list that I had to create, and I was looking at it, and there was quite a few people on there that I didn't really have a relationship with, so I was nervous about calling them out of the blue. It's like, oh, hey, I haven't spoken to you in a while, but how's it going, So So instead, I went to my phone and I just called 5 friends and 5 people that I knew that were into fitness and health and that I had spoken to within the last like month or so. And, you know, I was nervous. I created a script. Yes, I did. I went to my thing and I created a script and I practiced the phone call a couple of times. And then I just picked up the phone and I literally made my little list of those 5 people and I started calling them. I tried not to think about it. I mean, it's literally a physical thing. I don't know how else to say it, but you really have to get out of your head and literally push yourself sometimes to just start doing something, no matter how nervous you might be.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is, hey, look, I'm not the type of person naturally to do this, but I can practice my way into it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And some action was necessary, and you knew that to be the first action from OTA. Is that where you got the idea to do that?
Yeah. The Facebook list that I think you're told to do in one of the modules and one of the lessons, go back and make a list of all your friends in Facebook, you know, your phone, tap into your social network. And that's kind of where I started. And then from that list, I took 10 people. I did 5 first that I kind of already knew them and I knew their story. So I thought, okay, they would probably be interested in this. And then once I made those 5 phone calls, I didn't need to do my announcement that I would, because I chose to do a scholarship route to launch with my initial clients. And so I didn't need to go out and announce that on my social medias because I had found my first initial people to work with through that method.
So for the people out there that may be confused or maybe aren't affiliated with the OTA at all, tell us a little bit about what the scholarship route means. How does that work?
Well, in one of the last modules, I think it's the last one actually before the skills, the curriculum goes over how to go about getting your clients, your initial clients, or how to drum up a new batch of clients. And they offer different ways of doing that. And one of the ways that I gravitated to was offering a scholarship where you essentially someone pays you a lump sum of your services and you offer your services for a period of time, like maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. You give them your full services. And at the end of that, they either have the option of having their money back or donating it to a charity, or I forget what the other option is, or prorating it into another month. I can't remember, but they have the option of asking for that money back. So basically it's a no lose situation. It's risk-free for the client. And in that time period, this client now has an opportunity to fall in love with you as a trainer. So hopefully you're doing a great job, that you're creating results for this person. This person is getting used to you in their life so that when the scholarship program is done, they'll continue working with you. And you'll keep the money at the end if they want to let you keep it or whatever. So this was just a great opportunity for me to bring in an initial batch of clients risk-free to them because I was a new trainer. So, you know, some people don't want to take that risk on a new trainer. So this was a way for me to kind of say, hey, you're coming to me risk-free, you know, you'll get your money back at the end, or you can donate it to a charity of your choice. But now this just gives me an opportunity to test out my business, test out my coaching. You get to lose some weight and gain muscle, and I get to get success stories. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
100%. I love that. You guys, there are so many different strategies that you can apply through OTA. You know, but guys, you know, get them to hold the puppy. You know, there's a reason that they get you to hold the puppy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a reason why they let you test drive the car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to get them. It's hard to get the car off the lot if nobody ever gets in it. It's hard to get the puppy out of the pet shop if nobody holds it. April did a great job of getting them to hold the puppy and then be secure in what you know. Did you feel fairly confident, April, as you did that you were at a point you were trained to the extent that once they quote unquote held that puppy, that the puppy would be adorable? Did you feel confident in that?
I did to an extent. I guess because of the education that I just got finished going through. And then I do practice a lot before I do anything. I create scripts. I like scripts, and I'll practice the script so that I don't sound robotic and it sounds organic. And, but the script is mostly so that my conversation with whoever I'm talking with is organized and productive. And I'm not umming and ahhing, because that just looks unprofessional. It looks like you don't know what you're doing. So I was able to be confident as a result of that practice and the initial education, and, just being honest as well. These people that I called, they knew that I was new in this. I wasn't trying to be perfect or know it all. They knew I was new. I knew I was new. There's no reason to hide that. So, but I was earnest and I was excited and I was ready. And I think that is what it attracted them. Because they're like, this is exciting. Yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, I'll be a part of your beta group. And, you can test out your coaching and your business on me, and I'll get to lose some weight in the process and learn about nutrition. And, it's risk-free to me. Great. So once I laid out, okay, how am I going to do this scholarship as a result of OTA? It was not so scary to implement. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does. And do you feel like in the course of doing that, offering the scholarship program, that you got better at all those skills because you actually did engage with them?
I did. The first initial call was the scariest. And then by the time I got to the third call and the fourth call, it was just natural. And it was easier. And then, I don't know, now, I'm going to do it again in September. And okay, now I know what to do a little bit differently in September than what I did in May. So, the more you do it, practice, man, practice.
And that brings us to another great point that you and I talked about. And that's just, you adjust as you go, right? But you have to go first. That has to happen, because you can't adjust if you don't go. But talk to us a little bit about adjusting things as you're executing.
So initially, especially as a new trainer, I can only anticipate so much. And then once I start working with somebody, then I'm like, okay, so this isn't working, so let me do this instead. And I communicate all along the way. Once again, I do not give off the impression that I know it all. It doesn't work to my advantage to do that. And they won't be impressed because they know the truth. So, I communicated in the very beginning, hey, you know what, we're going to figure this out. No matter what, we will figure it out. So no worries. And adjusting as you go. And it's a partnership with your client, really and truly. That's something that I have learned thus far as a coach, as a trainer. When you're working with your clients, the best position to play from, so to speak, is together as a partner. And that's adjusting as you go. Nutrition, coaching clients in nutrition. Nutrition in of itself is huge experimentation. That's what you're doing. You make a suggestion, the client goes and tries it. It didn't work. You do a progress update and you realize, wait, they put on a pound or da-da-da-da. So now you adjust. So it's just, and it makes it more fun too. It takes the pressure off when you're not trying to be perfect.
Yes, and that segues perfectly into my next question, and that is, do you feel like authenticity is much more relevant to the client than them idolizing your sense of having it all together, so to speak?
Absolutely. It makes you're more relatable to your clients. Today people are very savvy and they're very, I don't want to say critical, but very, they can see right through it. And so you don't even want to go there, just be real, be human. People are attracted to relatability anyway. So, and it just, you don't feel like you have to be perfect. I don't feel like I have to be perfect with my clients. They know me, we're chill. So, and they're relatable to me, we just bounce back and forth ideas. So it's just being honest from the beginning and throughout is just the best way to go. Honest, being humble, and, showing that imperfection if need be.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. So where can people find you, April? How did they get in touch with you?
Well, I have a website, www.livefitnesstt.com. My website is still building, it's still growing, but it's there. Also on my socials, April Shade 1 on Instagram, and April Shade on Facebook, for sure.
Awesome. So can I ask you a favor, if you were permitted? Would you come back to this post and type that information at the bottom of the in the comments on this post? It's on PTDC, and as soon as we get done,
Okay.
you can come as soon as the live pops up. So April, being as kind as she is, she has committed to making sure that you guys have a method of getting in touch with her, particularly for the for everybody, for the folks that have been doing this for a while, like me. It's great to talk with somebody like April, who has the context of the OTA systems fresh. And obviously for folks that are just coming out of OTA or about to go in, it's always good to have a conversation with somebody like April, who is implementing, because the big differentiation in the context of what we do through OTA is the people that implement, even if it's not perfect, even if it's jumbled, even if you make mistakes. When you implement, it's the right first step to success. April, I appreciate your time so much. We learned a lot today. Thank you. The information was great. I know a lot of the people out there that are going to see this are going to appreciate the information. By the way, if you're watching this on replay, guys, thanks so much for coming back to view it. And this will eventually get bounced to a podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast now, thank you so much for coming back to listen to the podcast. April, it's been a pleasure to meet you and chat with you. I'll be following you on the social media interwebs. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend, my friend, okay?
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All
Guys,
right.
we'll see you next time. We've got another one coming for you tomorrow. And we're going to wrap up this season in a couple of days. So we'll check in with you again tomorrow, all right? Bye-bye.
Bye.